Hi, I'm Jules.
I'm
This
Trey.
is Trey. For any of you guys who have been following me on social media, or you are now currently, hopefully in the future, if you see this and you aren't, it's Juliana.rose __ on Instagram. I recently posted something about a pastor in Texas saying that saying that gay people should be shot in the back of the head during a sermon. This happened on June 9th, and the video kind of went viral. Honestly, I thought it would get more views than it actually did. I don't think it was as viral as it could have been. Only I saw it maybe once or twice before I actually posted it onto my social media. I don't know if you got a glimpse of it before I showed you.
No, so when you showed me, that was like the first time I had actually seen it.
Yeah.
And I was like, at first, I thought it was going to be in like positive light. Like I thought it was going to be a passage
about
or a sermon,
month.
you know, about the LGBT community and being a good thing and being like you're saved and you're okay. Like God had like just a good sermon.
Right.
And then it just flips a switch and
Right.
I was like, is this real?
Yeah, I remember he texted me like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
Yeah.
And it's I feel like that's a lot of people's reactions. I've talked to a bunch of my queer friends of like, have you seen this? And my one friend was like, yes, and I don't even have anything to say because I'm in such shock and it's sad that this is what we're used to. My friend is also a person of color, so he described that, you know, this is kind of like, it's no surprise, and that hurt my heart. I had my own personal issues with coming out with my parents, so I dealt with a lot of things with religion and it not being okay to be gay in the Christian or Catholic community, but this just kind of takes it to a whole new level.
Well, how were you raised? What like denomination, do you know?
They, like, both of my parents were raised, like, strictly Catholic, went to Catholic school, and we didn't go to church much. We went to, quote-unquote, a Baptist church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and, like, when we started, like, when I got baptized, and at, like, 18, it was super late, but...
Oh, so you did, so, for, like, Catholicism, you get, like, baptized one time, like, when you're a baby.
Right.
And then from there on, like, we don't believe in getting baptized again. And I've always thought that was super weird because, you know, it almost seems like a cleanse, like just a kind of restart and reset. Like, I've thought about it a few times of just, you know, why not? And obviously, like, having grown up in the Catholic household, I was kind of stuck in those ways, but I always thought it was so robotic. Stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. Always on the priest cue. And I was like, even the songs and the passages, the only time I would find a connection was in, like, the last sermon. That was it. And, yeah, I know that's, like, their last kind of Hail Mary, no pun intended.
Right.
But, I don't know, now I've been going to a non-denominational church, and they just kind of focus on, like, the Bible and, like, those teachings. But, again, what I said about this, you know, from... Pastor Oz is there's so many different interpretations that you can take from one single passage, just like I mean, it's connotation of you know what you think a word means. What's the first thing that you think of when you hear the word apple?
A red apple, man.
I thought green.
Yeah, no, it's as simple as that, and it's crazy too. And there's so many like theories and like factual like. Again, me and the same friend were talking earlier about this, and if you look in the Bible and you go all the way down to Latin, homosexual is not in the Bible. It's pedophilia. It's not, and that's an interpretation. And this man is honestly what this man said, I have never heard of or it being in any Bible interpretation.
Well, actually, I mean, we can, if you haven't seen it, we can run the clip. So we'll throw that up, and we can let you watch that for a second.
God say is the answer, is the solution for the homosexual in 2022, here in the New Testament, here in the book of Romans, that they are worthy of death. These people should be put to death. Every single homosexual in the country should be charged with the crime, the abomination of homosexuality that they have. They should be convicted in a lawful trial. They should be sentenced with death. They should be lined up against the wall and shot in the back of the head. That's what God teaches. That's what the Bible says. You don't like it, you don't like God's word.
Yeah, so, I mean, the fact that this man can call himself a pastor when he's literally preaching to kill God's children, I don't have an answer for it. I don't believe this is any representation of Christianity or Catholicism. I believe this is just a cult. Like, I truly believe this man is a cult leader. In fact, the Southern Poverty Law Center within Texas has labeled them as an anti-LGBT hate group. Like, they are not labeling them as a church, which is, I mean, that's
There's also
volumes.
The Westboro Baptist Church. We had political radicalism class in high school, and we got to speak with all these kind of obviously radical people from, I guess, a moderate point of view. So we would talk to extremist vegan people. It was actually really cool to hear about like their meals and really get to know like, okay, what is this diet? Like, what is this lifestyle? But we also had someone speak from the Westboro Baptist Church, and they were just like reaming on like homosexuality, you know, being strict on the Bible and word for word what it says. And honestly, I don't think that it's supposed to be read that way.
No.
I mean, again, you keep reading in the Bible and it doesn't even talk about homosexuality, but mainly like drunkards and liars. And I sent a text message to you about that and about how, I mean, I guarantee you this man's lied before. He's probably gotten hammered.
Oh my God, there's no doubt. Well, and that's part of
the amount of other people too.
That's
not even gay, not even straight.
That's the
nothing.
issue in society, especially within the Christian and Catholic society of like, there are all of these sins. All of cursing is a sin. There are all these sins, but homosexuality is the worst one. That is the one that is the most condemned. Even though you can leave church, just get done praising, and go flip the finger at somebody that just caught you off in the parking lot. Like it's homosexuality is the one they come down on the most, and I just, for the life of me, I cannot wrap my finger around what is so bad about loving another human being. Why is that the worst sin you can possibly
Well, I just had a
commit?
thought of when you were speaking about the example of like, you know, doing your prayers and going in there, having, you know, your service, and then coming out and just doing something rash and completely inappropriate, inhumane, whatever. I mean, the amount of priests and pastors that have like sexually assaulted little
horrible
kids.
track records. Horrible track records. But they preach that literally, this man literally says all homosexuals are pedophiles. He's not saying that every single homosexual that's alive, and this is quoted from an article right now, has committed that act with a child already, because it could be they haven't had the opportunity yet, and they will at some point later in their life. And that's why they need to be killed. Are you kidding me? Ellie's ears are in the frame. I'm dead. Like, this isn't sanity. This is... And the fact that he can... And I'm sure, as you all saw in the clip, as he's speaking this and saying that they all need to be shot in the head, people are like, yeah, right. And I'm sitting here watching this as a homosexual myself. Like, this was brought to the police, and they protected this man, saying that this was freedom of speech. Now, I am all for having the right to your opinion. I am all for people burn flags to get attention. There are protests, BLM, to get their point across. I have no problem with that. I do have a problem with a man rounding up people saying all homosexuals need to be killed. Are we Hitler? Are we the 2022 version of Hitler, where instead of Jewish people in the Jewish community being put in camps and slaughtered, now it's the gays? Like,
it doesn't make sense. Like,
you know, like,
not at all.
but it's protected from the police. Like, that's the part that I do not understand.
But also, I actually had a few people at the gym during my session tonight asking me, like, what was that video about? Like, what was going on? And I was like, or even my family members were like, why did you post that in our chat? because I had said we don't really need any dialogue. I just wanted to update you and like highlight what was going on. And so I had a few family members reach back out and be like, what was your perspective on this? Like, why did you say no dialogue?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I think it's best to have this conversation in person. We can throw text messages back and forth. I'm sure that we'll all be on the same page. But the issue is like tone and emotion,
especially
through
with,
text
especially
messages,
with things like this.
especially with a topic like this. But also, like, this is not highlighted in the news at all.
That's exactly.
It's like nowhere.
This man is making a terroristic threat.
I'm shocked.
Against the gay
What did you
community.
say? How many views did it have? It had like 50 or
Which one?
the
actual clip we played?
Yeah.
Or so I hashtag. So again, I saw this through a story of a fellow gay community friend on Instagram. I posted it on mine, and I also posted a reel making a stance of, I'm not going to sit here and be quiet. That's why we're making this video.
Right.
Attention needs to be brought to the situation. We're not afraid. I'm not afraid. The community isn't afraid. You can't do this. When I posted my reel, it had about 55K views. And then when I clicked, so I hashtagged Dylan Oz, which is the name of the pastor, and then the name of the church is the Steadfast Church. It only had less than 100 posts on these hashtags. So again, I don't think it really is out there. Again, NBC News did an article. I'm not really one to sit and watch the news these days, so I don't know if this was on NBC News. I know this clip was found on the local news channel, but again, the whole point of us doing this is just to bring more attention of how this is not okay, that human beings should not be afraid to step out of their homes in Texas or anywhere. I mean, look at 2016 in June, Pulse in Orlando, Florida, the whole club was shot up. 50 people were killed during Pride Month.
Oh my gosh, I remember that
Yeah.
now. Wow.
Literally, May, I just wrote about this in an article. His name is Ethan Schmidt, a man in Phoenix, Arizona, made a video on Twitter saying...
Me and my boy Kyle, we're going to be exposing Target. So, Target, you might as well perma-ban me forever across all your stores in the United States, because if you don't, we're going to be coming to every single one, and we're going to be exposing every single Pride, Pride Shrine, satanic Pride shrines for children. We're going to be exposing every single one. We're going to be pressing all the managers at every single Target. We're going to find and expose all the LGBT supporters, all the employees that support it. We're going to be exposing them. We're going to make massive scenes in every single Target across Phoenix, Arizona. And we're not going to let corporate poison the children. So Target, we're giving you a heads up that, we're going to be coming after you hard. I've already exposed you guys pretty good, but, this is going to be next level stuff. So,
Christ wins. LGBT loses.
Yeah. I also like to hunt LGBT supporters on my free time. That's one of my favorite pastimes, We're going to be going on hunting expeditions pretty soon. Hunting the LGBT supporters across Arizona and Phoenix. So, keep an eye out for that, because, you're not safe. If you support the LGBT agenda, you're not safe. You're not safe. Right, Kyle?
Yep.
You're not safe. Not. They're not safe.
Ethan finds you. Ethan finds everyone.
Yep. Can't hide from me.
You know what's strange, actually, is how they always result back to social media as, oh, we had the threat here, we should have acted and done something after the fact.
Right. Why are we not doing anything now?
And
it's freedom of speech now.
Yeah, and expression. I mean,
right.
You can assemble. I get it. Like, it's a church. It's hard to kind of tackle, especially with accusations of terrorism.
Right.
But it's, I mean, it gets to a point where you hear in his voice just how serious
he's
he
not.
is.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I wouldn't even say serious. I would say the word committed.
Exactly. He's very determined and motivated, and that's where I'm like, this is not Christianity.
Yeah.
This is
he's not just interested in the sermon and preaching that word. It's actually commitment
motives.
To
his own motives, and that's what I'm saying.
Following this out. Yeah.
This is.
But that article did say something about this isn't the first pastor from this church to have like serious.
There were other ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I wanted to see if I could find like the other pastors. And what did you say? I want to hear your point about the inverse of this whole situation. If it was
yeah. Let's say me as a full-blown lesbian, okay, I get a group of my friends together, gay community together, and I sit down and I take this camera, and instead of doing this video of us talking about it, I sit here and say that every straight, cis, white, Catholic, or Christian person needs to be lined up and shot in the back of the head. What do you think would happen? Truly. Like, really sit there and think. You think that this would be swept under the rug and it would just be freedom of speech? Even better, what if I was a person of color saying that and I was gay? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? The FBI would be kicking in my door the next day. I mean, I don't know if it would be taken that far, but you get the picture of the analogy I'm trying to make here. There's a bias in society where straight, cis, typically it's white men, can say whatever they want. They can make terroristic threats. And who knows if these policemen go to this church. Somebody sent me that today over DM. Somebody was like, I could bet money that some of these officers go to this church.
They're
like actually go, like they're members of the church.
Okay.
And that this is their pastor. So they're going to say it's freedom of speech. And I know you said you were looking up cases today and trying to figure out, like, when is freedom of speech taken too far? When are they going to do something about it? And if it's endangering anyone.
So usually what happens is they get committed as a crime, and then the state appeals will wash it away, and then Congress, they'll come back, and Supreme Court it'll just go to the Supreme Court, and then Supreme Court will just rule in favor of free speech. Because ultimately, like, it sounds terrible, but innocent until proven guilty, that there has to be, a significant motive or the actual crime being committed.
Right.
But again, after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Until it's too late.
Let's just wait till who knows how many, God forbid, are killed.
Well, wait until the next Pride Month in Texas, or the next Pride event in Texas, if they are even allowed to have them there at this point.
I wonder how far that is from, like, where is, I have never even heard
I've
that
never
city.
heard of this city ever, no. But, like, let's say from a main...
Wagyu beef?
Wagyu,
Texas?
It's a, wait, hold up. It's in here somewhere. Watauga? It's Watauga. Watauga, I believe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but... you know what's funny too? Somebody just sent me a Twitter feed today, and I put that on my story as well. There was a U-Haul of about 30 people. They went to a Pride event. I would need to double check where it was, but they all got arrested, and they had riot gear on them, and they call themselves the Patriot Front is the name of this group. They were in a U-Haul, and they were trying to protest at a Pride event, and they all had riot shields. I can't. She's been jumping all over it this whole time. They have riot shields, smoke grenades, and something else. But they were all decked out, and they were heading to a Pride event, and thankfully the police got there before anything serious happened, and they arrested them. But it's like, this was, I think, a week after this man got on a camera and started saying this. Like, it's happening. It may not happen quickly, but it's happening. In 2016.
Or near you. Like,
right.
Again,
it doesn't have to be in Texas.
They always, I don't know who they are, but the media, it just continues to go in this cycle of, again, as is what I said to you earlier too, of it's either pro-police, bad police, BLM, LGBT. I mean, there's literally a constant cycle of exactly what the media will put out. And then obviously you get the little fluff of local news. And then you get the, national news of just shit, just hitting the fan every time, every single time. But it's the same stuff.
Right, and there's no change.
And I wish someone would actually come up with a monthly, list of, okay, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. And then do the same thing for, a few years and just watch the same cycle. Right. Might not be at the same times,
But there's a pattern.
There's a pattern. There's always a pattern, and it's
Yeah.
the same shit every time.
We say that, nothing happens, the cycle repeats.
Because nothing gets
There's
done.
no change. And that's the whole
cycle
point
break.
of this. There needs to be a change. Somebody needs to arrest someone that's making terroristic threats. I'm not saying the man needs to go burn in jail for the rest of eternity, but something needs to happen to show people, like, hey, you can't do this. You can't threaten people's lives. Like, I'm a public figure in the weightlifting world, and I will speak out about this as much as I can, but I also know now that I do that, now I'm a target. Let's say somebody agrees with this man, and they go to a weightlifting event, and they find me, and they try and do something. I'm well aware of that. But, again, change needs to happen. It needs to happen. You need to speak out about it. Trey is an ally. He's a straight man doing this. And I said to him, too, because he was like, well, like, with the freedom of speech stuff, like, it's protecting him. And I'm like, it's not even about the constitutional rights for him. Like, Trey, we both have a shirt. It says he, she, they, them, human. Trey wore that shirt to the Y, and people were giving him dirty looks. Imagine if this man walked in this city of Texas right past this sermon with that shirt on.
They'd have no idea.
They'd have no idea he's straight. Just because he's wearing a shirt. And who knows what would happen. So it's like,
are you going to start shooting people over if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
literally, like,
And
where is the
like,
line?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, actually, the Raiders, remember? There was all that commotion about the Oakland Raiders fans, like, beating up people at their stadium.
It's like,
Well, I mean,
like, always, it's always back, the white men want to fight. like, there's other solutions other than violence and scaring people for no reason. This is horrible. And I'm pissed. I mean, I think about it. I'm like, this man is talking about my loved ones, the people that got me out of a really dark place, when the people, my family, that they were supposed to love me unconditionally, my ex-girlfriend before that, I was at my lowest of lows. My gay community that I met in Rochester, New York, at our favorite gay bar, they are the people that picked me up out of a very deep and dark hole. And this man is threatening them. And everybody else who is in the gay community with us. For what? That's the other thing. This doesn't affect you, Mr. Dylan. What is me falling in love with a woman, or a man falling in love with a man, a trans woman falling in love with another woman? Like, this has nothing to... It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your daily life.
Shit, I didn't even know that was a town. I didn't even know this
Right,
city
we didn't even know
existed.
you exist.
Out of Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth.
You don't know we exist here. What? But you need to kill us off? I just don't...
Wow.
I just don't understand it. And that's any Christian or Catholic that is, like, so wholeheartedly, my own parents. Like, me being in love with someone, I mean, it affects them, but not fully. Like, that's why I don't speak to them anymore. Because they can't support me. So it's like, why don't you focus on you and stop being a shitty person and stop trying to be the next Hitler of 2022 and actually preach something that's good and for an all-loving God. This isn't God. This isn't Jesus. This isn't the Holy Spirit. In fact, sir, you're probably Satan himself.
Yeah, that sounds a lot of dynamic.
Yeah.
Is that yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Just pointed
dynamic
music.
and satanic
Satanic,
actions.
that's the one.
They're both correct. Yeah, they both work. I mean, this isn't God. I'm sorry.
Not the one I know.
No, it's not the one I know either. To wrap this up, the biggest message I want to get out of this is something needs to be done, and people cannot act this way towards the gay community anymore. And use religion and freedom of speech as a cover-up. I'm not asking for anything horrible to happen to this man. I'm not going to sit here and be angry and meet him at his level. I will say, I'm gay, I'm loud and I'm proud, and I'm not going anywhere. And as an athlete, an international athlete, I will continue to represent my gay community as well as the country at every event I go to.
Hell yeah, pop off, Queen.
That's all, I believe something should happen. I don't know what the word is to be arrested. Something needs to happen to this man to stop this.
Well, the law of large numbers, and so
Yeah.
I mean,
Just to stand against.
right,
Right.
And there's power in numbers. You know, everything. If we can have majority rules, I mean, I'm just spitting out.
Yeah, no,
the
absolutely.
more people that you have on your side,
The
or that
better.
at least understand and can sympathize or just be open-minded.
Right.
I think is what you say a lot. Just be open to, you know, it doesn't even fucking affect people.
No,
like,
that's my.
I remember growing up, some of my friends would be like, they would see two guys kissing, and this was like early on. This was, you know, maybe 2010 or something, and you know, we were what 10, 12 years old, seeing, you know, two guys on the TV during like a commercial or something kiss, and you know, that was new to us. And I mean, the LGBT community wasn't that large. Like,
Right.
it wasn't as strong, vocal as it is now.
Right.
But over the years, you know, adding more numbers, people speaking up, people not being afraid.
Right.
Now look at it now.
Well, that's
Look
the
at
thing,
Pride now.
right? And that's the thing. Again, another message is like, this man is trying to instill fear in people of, if you are true to yourself and vocal about it, you're going to be killed. And like, I know still people that won't even come out to their parents because they're afraid of the repercussions. I know I didn't come out to my parents until I knew I was going to be financially stable enough to be prepared for the repercussions. And unfortunately, that's how it is. And like Trey said, like, there's strength in numbers and making sure that the community is strong. But yeah, this is not okay. Again, I will not stoop down to any level and wish any harm on this man, but I will say what you're doing is horrendous. You are not delivering the message of God in any way, shape, or form. And again, there needs to be change, because again, this is not the first time this has happened. Gay people have been shot and killed during Pride Month.
There needs to be an address. Like, that's what we're doing here, and you know, we're addressing the situation. But it'll start with us.
Yeah, hopefully.
It'll start at this level. Everything always does. But eventually, it needs to like climb up the ranks, and someone needs to address it. Just what did Matthew McConaughey address the nation of gun control?
Right.
I mean, I know celebrities do that all the time.
Right.
Maybe it's for clout. Maybe it's for
whatever it is.
Know,
yeah. Maybe they do truly believe in it.
Maybe
Who knows?
Maybe they do. We hope.
Yeah. And this kind of just sparks that conversation. So like, feel free to hop in the comments, share your thoughts, share this video with all your friends. Again, our goal is to just spread awareness, start a conversation, and let that spark the change that the gay community needs. Thanks for listening, and hopefully this gets out there.
Peace and love. Bye.